Hola, people! What's going on? I think it's still safe to say Happy New Year. January is like 156 days, but we are still going to navigate the waters of the new year. Another week, another episode of Niger Pulse podcast. And as per usual, my name is Becca Beckins, and I have with me my incredible co-host.
Yeah, my name is Adinla. Welcome to this episode of the Niger Pulse podcast. And this is a unique episode because it's not just myself and Becca Beckins.
Come
on
on.
this set, we have an amazing special
Drum
guest
roll!
in person of Mr. Shegun Tomori. And we'll let him introduce himself better to you.
Wait,
guys.
before he introduces himself, Mr. Shegun Tomori, ANIPR, FSCA. Yes.
Absolutely.
He is the special assistant on media to the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals Development. But we're going to let him introduce himself properly.
Hello, people. Hello, Nigeria. You've done an introduction, so I don't know what you want me to say. My name is Shegun Tomori. As you've said, I'm the Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development. I don't know what else you're expecting to say. Okay, I'm also the founder of the Abosede Tomori Foundation.
No, there's a depth to it.
Yeah, that is me. I'm also a politician. I'm a media and public relations guru. That's why.
How has your journey been so far navigating these waters in politics and having a foundation as well, being a humanitarian?
The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's for politics. The foundation was just started last year, July last year. We've done phenomenal work. So, but politics, is you have the highs, you have the lows, you have the struggles. Most people tend to see, the glitterati or when you're making waves, but they don't know what you've put in. The years before, decades before, and all that. So yeah, it's been fulfilling. It's been just like any other journey. It can be strenuous sometimes, but it's been fulfilling and rewarding. Because like anything that you want to succeed at, you need to be persistent. You need to have perseverance, and those are principles that has kept me. I think for over 15 years, about 15 years since I joined politics, actually. Yeah.
That's a long time coming. I mean, we see how it's glittering on you, and that is why we're here. He's a man of intellect and wisdom and knowledge. And we're gonna be navigating the waters of, the Ministry of Solid Minerals. Yeah. So Adinla, let's rock, let's roll, let's hit the ground running.
Actually, when he talked about politics, I was hoping, okay, someday we'll get to see your posters contesting
Absolutely.
for governor of which state?
Sending
now?
president
Lagos State.
self.
Lagos State.
I'm called
Whoa.
the governor, so I'll be governor of Lagos State.
Oh, wow.
Okay. This prophecy direct from Niger Pulse
See me shooting the
podcast.
stars for you to be Senate president. Well, you start from
Well, I
somewhere.
want to be governor. I want real executive powers so that I can effect change that I know I can.
Oh, okay.
Senate president is good. You can also, but I feel that, I've worked in the National Assembly before for 4 years as a legislative aide. So I know the inner workings of the National Assembly. I wouldn't mind in the course of my career to be a lawmaker because I know you can do a lot.
Yeah.
If you have empathy, if you have mind for the people.
Yeah.
And I think I have that, in a great dose because from my humanitarian delve, from my delve to humanitarian through the Abosede Tomori Foundation, I can do a lot as a lawmaker.
Yeah.
But ultimately I want executive power,
Powers.
in the course of my journey
Come
to be
on.
able to, to show them how it is done.
Done.
Because I don't believe leadership is rocket science. I feel that leadership is first having empathy for the people.
Exactly.
It's first having, a eye to cater to people and, tend to their welfare.
Yeah.
So I feel what is lacking in leadership is most people that are self-serving. What we have is a preponderance of politicians that are self-serving, that want to grab everything for themselves without looking at the people. So if you have those qualities, if you don't have those qualities, if you have a heart for the people, you can do a lot.
Yeah.
And and if you have the experience, because it also comes with experience.
Exactly.
It comes with experience. When I say experience, you need to be able to navigate the waters.
Yes.
Of politics and governance in any level you find yourself. Even at my level, there's politics. There's every level there is politics. So as you ascend, you need to be able to master the act of navigating the waters.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I would say big dreams, but then obviously you're on the right path.
Absolutely.
So achieving that big dream. And right now you have the opportunity to serve in the minor. So while we still have the dream of serving in a major capacity, right now you are the SA to the Honorable Minister of
Yes,
Solid Minerals
absolutely.
and on media. And to me, I would like to ask you to say, okay, in this capacity you are serving, if you look at the sector of solid mineral, what would be that major achievement so far since this administration came on board to you?
That we've been able to
Yeah.
redirect attention,
Yeah.
local and global attention to Nigeria's solid mineral sector. I think for me that trumps every other achievement that we'll be able to have. Because for decades in this country, since the advent of oil or the discovery of oil, solid minerals has been relegated to the background.
Yeah.
Before the advent of oil, or before we discovered oil, so to speak, we know about the tin,
Yeah.
mining of tin, I think in Enugu State, and, solid minerals exploration and exploitation in some parts of the country. But since we discovered oil, both solid minerals and agriculture has been relegated, and, we just follow the oil boom. So this administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, since 2023, has successfully redirected through my minister, of course, my principal, Dr. Dele Alake, redirected global and local attention to Nigeria's solid mineral sector. And he rolled out an impressive 7-point agenda, which I think we've done everything, because, I think so. I can beat my chest that we've almost done everything in that 7-point agenda. I think I'll be talking about that in the course of the program. But I think, people, we travel abroad and we go for conferences and people say, oh, we don't know you guys have solid minerals.
Yeah.
Like, we know about oil, we know about oil and gas, but we don't know about solid minerals. So
Other
you have this
minerals,
here, you have that, So, for me, that's the greatest achievement, that people now, I see people that tell me I want to mine. Even young people, even people in my closet, in my circle say, oh, how can I get a mining license? Pre-2023, it wasn't like that. People don't
Yes.
care. People don't care
Yes.
about mining. They don't even know what is mining or solid minerals. So it is a great achievement. So every other thing comes underneath.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. And I heard you say something about revenue. You're talking about security. You're talking about
Absolutely.
reforms. Let's delve into, you said in 2025, you released, what term did you use? A goal for you guys to achieve. Now I want to talk about the revenue and the figure. So what are the exact revenue figures that were recorded in 2025 compared to 2024 and prior to
Okay.
this regime? One, and how much of this improvement came from structural reform versus one-off enforcement actions? So 2 questions in one. You can start with the first.
Double barrel.
So revenue figures from 2025.
Okay. So
prior.
when we came in 2023, I think we were generating in the region of 6 billion annually. So from reforms of the minister, structural adjustment and whatever he did, and everything we did, we're able to improve it to 38 billion in 2024.
38 billion.
Yes, and last year, the report I'm sure you're reading from, we've not gotten the total figure for December, but I know that we inched closer to 70 billion as at the start of December, which is phenomenal. It's quite unprecedented. And in the MBS statistics, I think second quarter of 2025,
Yeah.
mining contributed 4.61% to the gross domestic product. And I think the year-on-year contribution was like 1.8%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It used to be in the region of 0.5, 0
Yes.
point something
Yes.
before the advent of this administration. So we've been able to do that. So you were talking about structural, what we've done.
Reform versus one-off enforcement
So when we
actions.
came into when we assumed office, when my minister, Dr. Alake, assumed office, one of the things we did was revoking licenses of those that are defaulting in annual service fees. I think 1,633
Licenses?
licenses.
Wow.
So people get license. Before we came into office, we see situations where people get licenses and keep them for speculation, just like how people get
Land.
Land, and
and
just
say
leave
after
it,
20
yeah.
years,
Yeah,
30 years, it will accumulate,
Amass.
amass. So they do that, and
Profit,
they
yeah.
stifle the sector or the system from serious investors, because when you check, it's just like you take a map and everywhere is taking, and they're not doing anything.
Nothing
Yeah.
is going
There's no
on.
commensurate activity or production and all that. So that's the first step we took. Revoking dormant licenses, and we followed through. I think early 2024 with no, the first one was annual service fees default. Those are defaulted in annual service fees. That's the 1,633. Then we followed through in early 2024 with revoking dormant licenses. We see situation of those that have held license for 10 years without doing anything.
So will you say the previous
Yeah.
administration were not following through to ensuring that the people that had licenses were working on the land? So
I
they
was-
weren't doing their job pretty much.
It's not only the previous administration. It has been
A tradition.
it has been administrations before us, not only the previous, even before the previous, even from the military rule, there's not been the enthusiasm to develop the mining sector. So it became a free for all for illegal mining, and that's why you see, it became their fiefdom, so to speak, in some parts of the country. That it's because there was no government regulation, there was no government interest. So you
Yeah.
now see the illegal players having a field day, but that has changed. So let me continue with the questions. So we did that, and aside from that, we revised the community development agreements, which makes it mandatory for an applicant. If you want to apply for mining licenses, you have to get the host consent of the host community before you apply for mining license. Either so you can get your license and get the host consent later from the host community later. But we've done that. Then then other things that we've done that has given improved investor confidence include the establishment of the mining marshals. Before this administration, there was no syndicated security architecture for the mining sector. So there's the mining marshals, and the mining marshals in just 1 year, it was established in 2024. In just 1 year,
That's under the NSCDC.
yes, so what we did is the plan was to have my minister's plan was to have a whole new structure, security architecture. But, and I recall that at the point, the president constituted an interministerial committee to have a security architecture for forests, blue economy, and solid minerals.
Yeah.
And that was chaired by Dr. Alake. So they were doing meetings in our office with service chiefs, with, Minister of Transport, and other ministers that were, contiguous to that arrangement. But it was taking too long. Then after some time, and my boss is someone that works with timelines. He wants to see what I want to achieve in 6 months,
This
1
time
year.
frame,
So it felt like, this wasn't going to work it might work, but it will take so much time. And we have just a term in the office, 4 years. So, he went to meet the president to say, I want something for my own sector, this, that. I've done my research. There's a way I can walk around it.
Navigate.
And so we discussed, so he spoke about the NSCDC, which, in the act of the NSCDC, there's also already a part that says is responsible for protecting infrastructure, national infrastructure, national security, national infrastructure, So he used that part to say, okay, I can get some people from NSCDC, we can retrain them, retool them, and use them. And that's what we did. So they were retrained and everything. I think 3 or 4 months, a crash course, psychological trainings, better trainings in ammunition and everything. And that's how, we got the mining marshals.
Wow.
And in 1 year, they've been able to arrest over 300 illegal miners. Over 150 are being prosecuted. We've secured some convictions, even from foreign nationals. We've been able to recover 98 illegal mining sites. And you know what that means? What that means in practical terms is 98 illegal mining sites that people that had their licenses could not operate in. And so when you see things like that, there's a cumulative effect on the revenue.
Yeah.
When the environment is sanitized, when people have confidence to invest, then there's more investment. When there's more investment, there's more royalties for government, there's more taxes.
Yeah.
So it is not rocket science, it is no magic that we have improved revenue. So we've also had surge, in applications. I think in 2025, I don't have the figure, but I know it's not less than 10,000 applications, maybe for 6 months. Or I can't really recall. But we've had a tremendous surge in the number of applications, both local and foreign investors that want to invest, and they've started.
No.
Yeah.
And so I can go on and on. So that's why I'm trying to link it to your question about revenue.
Revenue,
So that's how we got to where we are. And I know in 2026 we are poised to do more.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Because revenue, that's where I allowed you express yourself because I really wanted to know more about the revenue.
Yeah.
But then to Nigerians will say, okay, the solid mineral sector would say we've increased our revenue by more than sixfold, from 6 billion to 38 billion in
Then
just 1
70.
year between 2023 to 2024.
Yeah, then 70 in
and
2025.
almost 70 in 2025. But then why has this not translated to relief for Nigerians? Because Nigerians will say, okay, look at these huge figures. Why are we not seeing more jobs? Or why is our standard of living not getting improved?
Why do
we
you
just
think
see
you're
the
not seeing more
figures
jobs?
and we are not seeing.
Why would you say you're not seeing more jobs? Are
Okay.
you a miner? Is she a miner?
Oh.
Yeah.
So for you as a Nigerian to benefit from this revenue, you have to be a miner.
Do you have the technical know-how to work there? Those that have the technical know-how are being employed. For instance, the Asba lithium plant in the outskirts of Abuja that just started production. They are waiting commissioning, $200 million. Am I the one that is working there? Wait. I'm going somewhere. You asked the question.
Okay.
So, in that plant, who will be working there?
Miners.
It will be Nigerians.
Okay. So
Maybe
what
they
you're
have a
saying
few-
now is
What
if
I'm
you don't
saying
have
in
the
essence-
knowledge of mining.
What I'm saying in essence is if we have improved activity in the solid mineral sector, that means a lot of people are being employed because I'm not working there. It's still Nigerians.
But-
we have Aspa, we have like 3 lithium plants in Nasarawa, we have a gold refinery that was just that just started operation in Lagos. Nigerians are those that are working there. And of course, we have an iron ore processing plant in Kaduna State.
Yeah, but there have been allegations of selective enforcement, pretty much.
Okay, how do you mean?
There's been allegations that is man no man.
Okay, in terms of the job of mining marshals or
Yes, not
Okay,
mining marshals
what's
or
that?
people that can get their licenses, people that can get lands, people that can mine.
That's not
It's-
true. The application process, for instance, has been digitized. It's called the EMC Plus.
How do people that are laymen know that they can have access to
They
these
should
sites?
use their internet. You
It's
understand?
everywhere.
Yeah.
They'll do the PR for them. Let us hear it.
Nigerians are lazy to do basic stuff.
But then-
I know a lot of programs, for instance, that are available for youth that, when you apply, you can get. But Nigerians just sit back and say, oh, there's nothing happening. There is a lot of programs. Okay. I worked with the past Minister of Youth and Sports, as a, some capacity. And then we knew from our research that we had like 45 programs that could benefit the youth in different ministries across. But people will say there's nothing happening. So, application for mining licenses, there's a platform called the EMC Plus, in which you can, if you, an EMC Plus, you can apply online. But it's not about applying for mining licenses. If you apply for mining licenses, what next? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the technical know-how? Why are you not into oil? Why is Nigerians not into oil? Because if you say you want to be in solid minerals, you need to know your onions. You need to have your finances, or you have a JV. So you have a technical partner that you partner with. Do you understand?
Yeah, in a
you
nutshell.
don't just say, oh, I want to have a mining. I want to go and buy land. It's not like buying land.
What I'm trying to get now is,
Yeah.
in a nutshell,
Yes.
this mining, solid mineral mining,
Yes.
it only creates direct employment or job opportunities for those that have knowledge of it.
Of course, you have to have knowledge of it. If you don't have knowledge of PR and communications, you can't work in my office.
Yeah.
You can't work with my minister that is a veteran.
Okay.
Over 40 years communications and media veteran. You don't work with him.
That's on one side.
Yes.
Now,
So every sector, you need to have the requisite skills to work in this sector. It's a no-brainer. I don't think we should argue about that.
So Nigerians should, for them to gain from these
knowledge.
opportunities,
Yes.
they need to acquire knowledge about mining.
If you are
and all of that.
interested in mining, for instance, you study geology, you understand. You study geology, related geochemical, you can apply yourself. There's a need, for instance, for technical know-how, because aside from the mining, you have to conduct geochemical studies of areas. For instance, now they said this area, is area we suspect or you want to acquire for mining license. The prospective miner needs to conduct some surveys. So if we have people that are in that line, you can make money for yourself. You are also in the mining value chain. Not everybody can mine. If you are not mining, you can join the technical know-how, you can join the processing angle, you can join even the buying centers. There's a buying center.
That way, creating indirect employment
exactly.
too.
So it's a value chain.
But another thing that baffles me is, you
Yeah.
see, when you were talking about revenue earlier, you said from 2023 to 24,
Yeah.
we had improvement from 6 billion to 36.
Absolutely.
And now approaching 2025, we have almost 70 billion.
Approaching end of December, we had close to 70
billion.
So
now, if you
give
say
or take
close to 70
billion,
billion, we would say that was also as a result of foreign investors coming in, because from 2024 to 2025, we had roughly about $800 million, $800 million investment in the solid mineral sector. But then the question is this: with all of this coming, are we considering, because investors will not just come and invest, they are also benefiting, definitely. Nobody puts their money where there's no return. Of course. So if you're saying investors are coming, and we know for investors to come and keep coming, they are benefiting from this, how about those host communities? We still see cases of environmental degradation and poor compensation to these host communities. So what's this sector of solid minerals doing to bring a solution to this problem?
Before, when I was giving my introduction, I said part of what we did was revising the guidelines for community development agreements.
Yeah.
Community development agreement. What that means is, if you're a prospective miner, you need to go to your community, see probably the chiefs, see the whatever traditional institution that are there, or the leaders of that community, to say, okay, I'm interested in this land and everything. So part of the agreement is to tell them, of course, you tell them what you'll be doing for them. You understand? For them to give you an agreement that, okay, we cede our land to you, you must enter an agreement to say,
Yeah.
I'm
This is what
committing
I'll be
to
giving.
exactly.
Okay.
And that's why we are saying that before we give you a mining license, you need to show us the proof that you've done
Consent
that.
from those people. Wow.
Yeah. So that way, you can you have something like a binding document that gives you understand that commits you to the people. You understand what I'm saying? So that is it. And there's also the MIREMCO, the Mineral Environmental Management Committee, committee that is domiciled in the States. It's a committee or an agency that that is like a liaison between subnationals and the federal. So most of the people in that committee, I think, is a 10-man committee. I think five members plus the chairman are appointed by the states. That MIREMCO is also supposed to cater to the interest of the locals where we cannot be. We cannot be everywhere from Abuja.
Yes.
So that MIREMCO is closer to the people. The chairman appointed by the governor. We have nominees. Ministry of Solid Minerals has nominees, but most of the nominees are from the state. It was conceptualized in a way such that they can also monitor, and where there will be frictions here and there.
Yeah.
They are supposed to intervene or let us know where each company is not doing what they said they would do. You understand? So that's another avenue that has been created.
So on your own
as part
side,
of
you will
the
say you've
act.
made everything or the plan intact for these host communities to benefit. So if host community indigenous from this place are not seeing the impact, they should hold their chiefs accountable.
Don't put me on the spot. I said what I said. I said there is a community development agreement. There is a MIREMCO. They should look for the MIREMCO chairman in their states.
Okay.
Any issues, they should relate to the MIREMCO chairman.
Exactly.
I think each of
So
the
there's
states,
an accountability channel, pretty much.
and that
I get you.
MIREMCO, the state governor, is also aware of that MIREMCO because their nominee,
Yeah.
the governor's nominee, is mostly the chairman of that. So that's how the synergy works.
Yeah.
You understand? So if there's a problem, if you can't reach us here, you can get to MIREMCO
Yeah.
or get to your state and all that, and you get resolution.
Okay.
But we also have what we call cooperative federalism. That we introduced. My minister introduced. It wasn't in place before, because before we took power, before the assumption of office of the president and this minister, we know that the mining and solid minerals belong in the exclusive legislative list. What that means is under the purview of only the federal government, just like oil.
Yeah.
So, but we now see that, these things are domiciled in people's lands.
Yes.
Yeah, domiciled in communities, and everything. So how can we, navigate this and all that? So the minister introduced what we call principle of cooperative federalism, and I will explain
Yeah.
in which states now can apply for mining licenses
Whoa.
and operate as a limited liability company.
Okay.
In with joint ventures, in JVs with technical partners, even foreign investors and all that. And
Wow.
we've seen that, and that is happening in Nasarawa, in a lot of states. People stay. I think Oyo states who have applied. I think they have their license,
Yes.
and a whole lot of states they've embraced this. So we are doing a lot to not only solve or mitigate issues at the locals, but also bridge the gap between federal and state to ensure that we work in synergy. Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to talk about lithium, gold, and tin. Not a lot of people know that we can mine that in Nigeria, and I want to highlight some of your wins in 2025. So the ministry highlighted renewed investors' interest in 2025, particularly in lithium, gold, and other strategic
Absolutely.
minerals. So I have two questions pertaining that. A lot of us may not have like the depth of the knowledge. Like you said, you have to, take courses, go into geography, but I want to know which specific investments or MOUs that were signed in 2025 have moved beyond announcement into execution, one. And secondly, what due diligence do safeguards existing Nigerian from speculative or explosive or exploitative, I beg your pardon, investors that just want to come and take? What are the safe measures that have been put in place to ensure that theft is not going on pretty much?
I'll give you one example of an MOU that we've done stuffs with and we've actualized. Where we're in Australia last year, Perth to be precise, for the first batch of training of mining professionals, and that was the result of the MOU we had with Australia, with the government of Western Australia. So they trained our mining professionals. I think they were about 12 or more. Around 12. The first batch mining on different, in Murdoch University.
Okay.
So that's an example of an MOU that we've finalized, is now actionable. We've done the first batch. I think the second batch should be going any moment from now. So in terms of the real investment, like business, what people don't understand is the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development is largely a regulatory, ministry. But what we have been able to do in terms of those MOUs, the vehicle that will carry those MOUs and whatever you want to see will be the Nigeria Solid Minerals Corporation, which we also established, which was also part of the Dr. Dele Alake's 7-point agenda. That company is now existent, is now headed by Martins Imonite, and so most of the JVs that the federal government would enter or, equity partnership or will come through that Nigeria Solid Minerals Corporation. Sure. But as a ministry, you can't say you're having equity, but that will be the vehicle because it's going to be, it's not going to be.
What's the long-term goal of the MOUs that are signed?
It's going to be a special purpose vehicle. Long-term goal is development of the mining sector.
Okay.
MOUs can be to develop one area. It can be, for instance, we also signed an MOU with Geoscan for exploration. Geoscan is a German exploration company. That was in 2023, you understand. So MOUs is for general development of the mining sector, either to bring investment or to accelerate progress in certain value chain and all that. So it can be all encompassing. I've given you one that has to do with capacity building, which is the MOU with Australia. And I think we have one with South Africa too, because South Africa is a prominent mining nation. So we've signed an MOU with that. We should be seeing the results of that in the coming weeks and months this year.
And then measures in place to ensure that investors are not exploiting.
Okay, I think we've been able to do that with our policy on value addition. And I think I need to talk about that.
Yeah,
because before the advent of this administration, what we say about our mining sector, the little activity that happens was what we term and call pit to pot. You just mine and take away the raw materials abroad. Yeah. But now that has been prohibited. For you to even apply for mining licenses, you need to put it on paper, some form of what you are going to do for processing, for refining before you take it abroad, because you find a situation that we've been shortchanged. Some people can declare that before, when they were taking pit to pot, the raw materials, taking it abroad for export, They can declare, for instance, that it was only lithium they have. But when from our research and our studies, we find out that most of our minerals or raw materials have composite of other minerals. So they can declare only lithium, and there's copper, there's nickel there and everything. So when they take it abroad, they make a kill.
More money.
You get it to the detriment of our local community. So part of what we put in place is you must develop here some form of processing. It might not be everything, but let there be some form of processing. And that's why we are seeing, the springing up of gold refineries. The one in Lagos has started operation. 3 more are in different stages of completion across the country. We are seeing lithium processing plants, I think 4 or 5, I think 3, the $600 million, we're waiting, lithium plants are waiting commissioning in Nasarawa State. There are 2 more that have started, 2 previous ones that have started operation. You have the Asba lithium plant in the outskirts of Abuja, also awaiting commissioning. Because I spoke to the chairman yesterday. Yeah, I spoke to the chairman yesterday, and he was saying, "Oh, you people are the one delaying us. You will not be able to get time, but they've started production." And the Asba plant in the outskirts of Abuja he has an installed capacity of 1.6 million tons per annum.
Yeah.
So a lot is happening.
But then when you say all of this, a lot truly, like you said, but then if a lot is truly happening, this amount of significant improvement, like you said, it sounds so juicy that, in fact, this is what every
it's actually juicy.
well-meaning
You want
Nigeria,
to drink it like Chivita?
Of course, this is what every well-meaning Nigeria will want to hear.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you get to wonder, if this is real, as we have it on paper,
it's still actually a drop in the ocean.
Exactly.
Because
this is what I'm trying to say. Why are we not seeing this translate to full economic diversification? And it still looks like a lot of people are still talking about oil.
Why do you say, who told you it's not translating to diversification? I mentioned earlier the MBS statistics that has shown that solid minerals is contributing more to the GDP. That's
than
showing
oil?
You, of course, no, it can't be than oil.
It can't be than oil.
Years.
Like how many percent of our GDP
I already
now?
go. You have to go back to what I said. You can't have me repeating myself.
No, please, I would like you to do that for the benefit of our audience.
You have to be attentive. I said year on year last year.
Because the figure I have is quite different from what you mentioned.
No,
earlier.
I said year on year last year it was about 1.8% contribution to the GDP. I said in second quarter was about 4.6%. But there's how they do the aggregate. It was like 1.6% year on year. I said, but the second quarter 2025 was 4.61. I also said before it used to be 0. something, maybe 0.5% and all that. So it is a gradual process.
Oh, okay.
Don't put me under pressure. It is a gradual process. If you build all the blocks in mining today, some projects can take 10 years. It can take 5 years. This gold refinery that just started operation in Lagos, do you know when they started? 2018. They had stumbling blocks. They were going to start in Ogun State. They moved to Lagos in 2021 and they completed in 2025. That's 4 years. Imagine we assume power in 2021 and we said, oh, a gold refinery is coming and you will not see it in 1 term. So you should give us kudos for what you are saying.
I'm giving
of
course, from what we have on paper, it is big kudos.
Yes.
But then Nigerians are waiting to that point. For that point where we
Nigerians are not patient. That's your problem.
Yeah, but are you people doing the proper marketing though, or public relations? Are you ensuring that Nigerians are seeing?
For every average Nigerian,
why did you invite me here if you're not saying it? Of course, you've heard. You have
because we are in-house and we are actually politics driven.
I think our ministry, without standing in modest, because I heard the media and the communications of the minister, is about the most talked about in the media. I think our ministry
is it?
I think so.
Yeah. If you say it's about the most talked about, I think many Nigerians are actually interested. But what I'm saying is this: if we're saying all of these, improvements, some we can confirm on paper. What I'm saying now to Nigerians,
I know where you're going to. I know where you're going to.
Would you just for communication's sake, please?
Okay.
Now, for Nigerians that are saying, let us see the benefit truly, truly. A lot of people will say, oh, oil money, this one is happening in the oil sector. That's happening.
But I think he has answered is saying that you have to be educated, have the qualifications and have the license.
Get what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about economic diversification now. Now, why don't we have too much, a lot going on? Like people want to talk about the mining sector with this kind of acceleration from 2023 to 2025. Like
the
layman is not really talking about it.
Exactly, the layman on the street.
I think it boils down to PR. If that's his question, I think it boils down to PR.
Layman cannot okay, what do you want layman to be talking
Okay, so
about?
you see how
Okay,
everyone
yeah.
can talk about the educational sector.
About
Everyone can
crude
talk
oil,
about
even if you don't have
crude oil. Everyone knows what
an
happened with
expertise on it.
Dangote. Everyone knows what happened with power supply.
Exactly.
How,
Exactly
you
my
know,
point.
the power grid is not up to standard, even if they are providing supply.
Can I say something?
So same thing with
Because
your ministry.
when you say, how can you say Nigerians, why would Nigerians not talk about power supply? Because it's everything you use every day for all the 250 million people. How will you not talk about oil?
Yeah, but
Wait,
if oil
no,
is...
you've said yours.
Okay.
Wait. So if you are talking, you have to talk about power. You have to talk about oil because you use fuel. Everybody
Yeah.
uses fuel in one way or the other for transport or for anything. So it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the mining sector is mining. Is an area that is specialized. It's for some set of people that know. Do you
Secluded.
understand? It's not everybody that are interested in mining. Okay, yeah, oh, it's good. Except somebody that wants to buy gold or is interested in the mining.
Yeah, but you people should be interested in people coming in so that you guys can generate
People,
more revenue.
people are coming in, but it's not people like, I'm sorry to say, it's not broadcasters like you that want to come in. Do you understand? So don't confuse issues. Don't confuse issues. It is.
But then at the end of the day,
delving
but
into
then at the end of the day, if people come in,
yeah,
it turns out to more revenue for Nigeria, and more revenue for Nigeria should be something that ordinary people like me, a broadcaster, can actually feel.
But I've told you there
impact.
are more revenues, right?
Of course, but how am I feeling it?
How are you feeling it? The revenues are going into the federation account. That's what you don't understand. From all states, for instance, local government and federal, their revenue has tripled.
Yeah.
The mining sector contribution is part of those revenue. So that is how it's trickling to you and I.
Okay.
It's just because we are ignorant. Including you that is a broadcaster. Yes, because if you know your onions, you would know that we are not going to carry the money and give you. All monies that you generate from sectors go to the federation account and is distributed every month in what they call FAC. The states get, the local government gets. So yes.
Okay.
So how do you want me to? You want us to be giving you 10 naira?
Of course,
and give you.
No, absolutely not.
So for everything you see that the federal government is doing or states are doing, for the more money they have, for the more, like my local government,
mining sector is contributing its own quota. That's it. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
Exactly.
so what incentives are strong enough to overcome Nigeria's infrastructure and energy challenges? I really want to know.
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's out of my own purview now. Infrastructure and energy challenges. Am I solid minerals? Is that solid minerals?
Actually, you said that you have all the knowledge now. So I'm asking you the question.
When did I say I have all the knowledge? When did I say?
But
infrastructure. Maybe I can say one or two things about energy and infrastructure. In energy, for instance, I know that there is the Electricity Act has been decentralized, which gives states and local government, or even private entities, to generate their own energy. So I think a lot of people should take it up with their subnational local government to say there is this act. They've liberalized the electricity sector. You can generate your own. You can generate and transmit to your people and all that. And I think Lagos State has signed an MOU for something like that for their own. We are seeing something like that in Abia State through the geometric power and all that. So I think the solution to energy will be when we can get. I'm not an expert in that field.
Yeah.
It's just for my own observation, for my own research. I think it will be when we can have a substantial number of our people off the national grid that is erratic. So if we have a substantial number, or we manage the grid in such a way that we have more generating sources, aside from hydro, we have maybe gas, wind, I think we're also embracing solar already.
Yeah.
Let's have more of that solar. For instance, in my house now, I've not had power cut since March last year because I'm on solar. So yes, and a lot of government institutions are also on solar and everything. So it has to be a mix, an energy mix for us to get to where we want to be for 24-hour power supply. There has to be better management. There has to be better synergy between state and federal so that states should carry federal should carry states along in what they are doing. I also know about the Siemens deal that was signed under the past administration.
Okay.
So I think that has to do with transmission and everything, So there has to be better synergy, better coordination, and people should take advantage of the decentralization to generate within their own spaces. Then infrastructure, there's a long way to go. We need more money for infrastructure.
Yeah.
So we need more money. Nigeria, people used to think that Nigeria is a very rich country, but I think is not true, because if you look at South Africa with 55 million people, they have about At least I said about 5 times Nigeria's annual budget.
Of course.
If you look at California, for instance, I think that their budget is it can't even compare. Pales into it's just a sector or an agency in California or in one state in America that has more budget than Nigeria's annual budget. So we need to generate more, we need to do more. And that's why this administration is diversifying to ensure that we can cater to our people, infrastructure, energy, and other areas.
Yeah, but then as a Nigerian, I have a concern. This goes beyond your administration or the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. But as a Nigerian, we will see this amount of significant improvements in the solid mineral sector. And we cannot say for the fact that it happened in this administration, it is just by chance or by miracle. Actually, it has to do with policy, introduction, change, and all of that. Now, as a Nigerian, we've seen different times an administration will come with a different policy, and after that one, another administration comes, and all of those policies of the past administration are trashed out to bring in a new one. If we have seen this amount of improvement in the solid mineral sector so far, are you not concerned that after this administration, the next administration might come from another angle, and this might cause, a degradation or, a kind of
depreciation in the work done, pretty much.
Yeah, that we don't have a kind of retrogression.
So I think we are working along that line, and that's why there's an ongoing process to amend the 2007 Minerals and Mining Act.
Okay.
You understand? So we're working in synergy with the National Assembly to ensure that there's incorporation of the reforms that we've done, institutionalization. Yeah, exactly. For instance, the Solid Minerals, Nigeria Solid Minerals Company, and a lot of things, so that even the mining marshals and a lot of things, so that everything we've done it will be hard to upturn in the next administration or when we leave power.
Okay. So now let's talk about security, because our time is fast spent and I really want to touch on this. There are core places in the core north that has a lot of raw materials, and we know that the indigenes are being displaced, and then we have high level of insecurity in those places. And I know that you've mentioned, there are marshals that have been trained, that have been put in place to protect. And I know that some people are still talking about, if you delve into people that are talking about this on X or even on TikTok, they're still saying that certain places, their indigenes are being displaced. What work is the ministry going to do to ensure the safety of people, even if the minerals there are going to ensure increase in our revenue in Nigeria? Let's talk about security.
The security situation transcends the ministry. I think it's a national security issue. Yes, there are areas that there are insecurity that, is instigated by banditry and everything, and all that. But it's a national security issue that is receiving the highest attention. The president and the national security advisor, we are seeing collaboration. We are seeing air strikes like never before on terrorist strongholds. Bandit strongholds in the northwest, in the northeast. And we are seeing coordination even with we saw recently a coordinated strike with the US and everything. So a lot is being done, to rejig the security architecture. The president is also very emphatic on the need for a state police. And I've been an advocate for state police for long, even before the advent of this administration, because you cannot be in my local government, for instance, in Lagos, and you are from Benue, and you understand the people and the terrain. It has to be somebody that understands the people, that stayed there, before we were born, they told me, because I didn't meet it, that there was a kind of police, like a county local government police, that, when new people enter a community, they know. People alert them. Neighbors will say, this person, we've not seen his face on this street, or we've not seen, where is he? They will alert that local police and all that. That's the kind of architecture we need. We need to scale it up from local to state to federal. This central policing system we have is over-centralized. They are overstretched. They don't have the capacity to contend. And,
personally, I even think the nation is under police.
Yes, it is under police, but they are also overstretched. But my own idea would not be to add more numbers continuously to them. My own idea would be to localize, like the president is saying. Let's have state police with limited jurisdiction, that I will put in place stop, what do you call it, laws to guide them so that they don't get abused and all that. That's my own panacea. And I think until we do that, we'll be scratching the surface.
I hear you. So we are in the era of 2026. 2027 is a new regime. So within this 2027 rather is a new regime.
Administration, yeah.
And I want to know your administration.
Yeah, we're
what
coming
is
back to power.
Yeah, so
2027.
amen. What is the goal for this year? What is the target for this year? What do you guys intend to do different? I know you will not come and tell us, your losses, areas in which you slacked, but in-house, areas in which you slacked and areas that needs improvement. What are the things that you're going to put in place? You'll not come and open your behind in public now.
You want me to tell you that, we slack, you slack.
Of course not. So you know it. So I want to know what steps you're going to do.
We did not slack anywhere.
So let us know what you're going to do
this
differently.
is the best it can be. Is that what you're saying?
No!
You can be better. Okay, so you always can be better.
For instance, I'll give you a vivid instance. For instance, the mining marshals, we have to scale up. And I forgot to mention that there's an ongoing process as part of plans to secure the mining sector and the mining environment to have satellite monitoring, satellite surveillance of all mining sites.
Yeah, so
I think you'd have read about that.
Yeah, I read that last year.
Yeah, so the federal government last year, the Federal Executive Council approved the contract, a 2.5 billion naira contract. It's been worked on. It will be concluded very shortly this year. Okay. So once that is deployed, that would aid the work of the mining marshals. That's part of what we want to see this year. We want to see more boots on the ground.
Yes.
Dr. Dele Alake, my principal, is very passionate about saying more boots on the ground. He wants at least mining marshals to be in all local governments of this country. Now we have around 3,000 plus personnel of the mining marshals. We want to be able to scale it up to 10,000. Those are goals I want to do. We want to scale it up so that we can have better response system, combine that with the satellite monitoring, so that we can, do more and be more effective in the mining sector.
Awesome.
We also want to provide, we also want to get more investors, more people that we're talking to, to come in. I've reeled that a lot. We want to see more come in the lithium, in the gold value chain, in, rare earth metals. I forgot to also mention that the groundbreaking for rare earth metals, a $400 million rare earth metals was done, I think, early December.
Okay.
Is in Uke, Nasarawa State also. That's also a phenomenal stuff. You understand? So we want the construction to progress, we want to be able to commission it, and a lot of other projects that are in the offering. So that's our goal. We also want to do exploration. In 2025, the president, our budget was about 1 trillion plus, and the bulk of that was for exploration, because if you don't have the big data, you can't attract the big players.
Yeah.
You understand? So this 2026, I know my minister is passionate about exploration. I am also passionate about exploration, that we should be able to do substantial exploration that will be able to attract these big players. So that's a synopsis of what I want to see. I don't know what you want to see.
I want to ask you one more question. I know that you've talked about licenses and the depth of it. For people that want to come into mining, how long does it take to get the license?
I think it should not be less than 30 days if you've done your due diligence.
Okay.
Give or take.
So there you have it, guys. It takes
but you need to
30
get
days.
but you need to get your consent of host communities
Yeah.
and all that. And don't also forget.
Aside from consent of host community, any other?
There are a list of what you need to get.
So where can they get this information from?
The website of the Mining Cadastral Office.
Which is?
Mining Cadastral Office.
Okay.
They should check it. Mining Cadastral Office.
You guys are hearing. Check the Mining Cadastral Office.
And
then when you research, there should be a website, right?
Of course, there is.
Oh, there is a website.
I can even send it to you, later and all that. But once you
then
say
if you check the Mining Cadastral Office, you should
It should pop up.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for drilling me.
Great
It
conversation.
was supposed to be a podcast, but it became a drilling session.
We wanted to learn from you.
You are not learning, you're
a lot
drilling.
of Nigerians wanted to
And
learn
I
from
said
you.
We cannot pat your back. We cannot rub your back and be
I said it when I started that. When you gave me elevated platform, not to drill. You know I said so. Podcast supposed to be interactive. You're supposed to laugh.
Of course, we learned a lot from you.
I'm sure you heard a lot.
And we are glad
Thank
you
you.
honored our invitation.
Thank you so
for
much,
having me.
Mr. Shegun Tomori. I pronounced it right,
Tomori.
right?
Tomori.
Yeah,
Yeah, you tried.
Thank you so much for coming. Guys, this is
you
an
for having
amazing
me.
episode. We've given you knowledge. Ensure you maximize everything everything we said within your capacity. On that note, we draw the curtains on this episode of Niger Pulse Podcast. You know the vibe. Like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel at Niger Pulse Podcast. Follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Niger Pulse Podcast, and on TikTok as well, and Niger Pulse Podcast. On that note, Adela and I, we're signing out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, our guests,
Thank
for
you
joining.
so much for having me.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Cheers.